So if you're looking at that, what you're recognizing is that it's probably not people running around with 5 iPhones on their belt, right? 5 BlackBerries. That's not what the future is going to be. It has to be different devices. And you're also probably wondering, if you've got a problem with market penetration, and all of a sudden they say 500%, that's easy. Either going to be some, fancy slideware, or it's something that's meaningful where a company's driving towards changing the marketplace. Okay, so what I'm hoping I could do here today is explain to you what it is that Verizon's doing, and I would probably also argue other carriers are doing, to try and expand in the marketplace relative to WAN connectivity dramatically. So how do you get there? So if you take a look at the devices that are on the screen right now, you probably recognize that those devices are intimately linked to people, right? Someone has to interface with that device. If I'm awake, I'm using it, it's putting data on the network. If I'm asleep, the device is off, it's not putting data on the network. And that's pretty much the way things have been going for a couple of decades for all the carriers. So getting away from people and getting to Internet of Things, these probably shouldn't be new terms to the folks that are in the room here. But this is really the future when we take a look at what's going to be happening with broadband connectivity and also the application space. Meaning that it's not just about your smartphone. It's really going to be about putting intelligence and connectivity into anything and everything that could take advantage of that in the future. Okay, so that's where Verizon is focused. And what I want to try and do is just give you a little perspective on, how do you get there? Because I think that even though we've made statements about 500% penetration is probably the right target for the carriers to look at, I would argue that that's conservative. And part of the reason is some of the new technologies that are coming down the road. So LTE, long-term evolution, most likely the dominant standard for 4G, and I'll talk about why I think that's the case in a couple slides. That started for Verizon many years ago. Okay, so back in 2006, we ran technology trials over in Europe and in the U.S., trying to decide what it was we thought we wanted to do with next-generation technologies. Ended 2007, spent a little over $9 billion for a good chunk of spectrum, 700 megahertz, arguably the best spectrum that's ever been purchased in the U.S., for the distinct purpose of launching next-generation technologies. 2008, launched a program that I'll touch on briefly called Open Development. Okay, so that's a new program we put in place, new business philosophy around getting to the Internet of Things. So that's about not necessarily requiring people to come into a Verizon Wireless store or a Best Buy to talk to a sales rep and bring a device online. It's really about how do you actually get away from the constraints that any corporation like Verizon Wireless has and enable many other things. So it's a brand new business model. 2009, Verizon Developer Community. Okay, that is a new program that we started up to try and partner up with our developers in the application ecosystem. Okay, and the view there is that there are plenty of app stores that are out there. I think everybody knows that. And Verizon doesn't build handsets. We don't build OSs. And for the most part, we don't build a lot of applications. But the view is that there's still tremendous opportunity to work with developers by enabling different things on the network and allowing them to vend or market on the Verizon Wireless market. So applications was critical for us for the future. Then towards the end of 2009, 4G Venture Forum was announced, for those that haven't heard about it. Basically what that is a recognition that like every other company that's out there, you're going to be constrained relative to what you can do for resources, funding, anything else that's required to try and enable a new product or service. So the thinking was, if you want to try and do more things on the network, and you recognize you don't have enough people and enough dollars to do all those things, then perhaps the right thing to do is to partner up with the venture community and see how they can collaborate with us to try and enable new ideas. And really kind of with a big focus on smaller parties with the next great idea. So again, another program that we brought together to try and pump up the marketplace.